So, after putting it into a scene, we can see, the lighting that is, putting it into a scene, we can see how it affects and how much drama we can add to the scene. I think you guys pulled it together really well, especially with the grass. It's a little bit high poly, we'll get to that in a minute, but I think the overall execution of everything just turned out phenomenally. It's placed sporadically in good spots around the tent. The pathway is nice and clear. It has a good amount of color and coverage and variation. I think it's really successful in what you guys are doing. Switch over to the wireframe, if it lets me. Alrighty then. Alright. Let's close this guy too. I don't know where he came from. That's why. We're going to go to animate. Okay. And then wireframe again. So a couple things. Usually this stuff is fine, the quad density for fabric, just because that's the way fabric folds, and for dynamices it's usually pretty good. Other than that, stuff like this, still again, the poles are a little bit too high polygon. I would reduce those by 2/3, 3/3. I make them about 6 to 8 to 12, somewhere in there. As for the grass cards, so one thing about the grass, it looks great. Don't get me wrong, it looks great. But the way you're modeling it, using alphas and, how do I say this? So if you look real closely, you're not gaining much from the alphas. In this case, you might as well just get rid of the alphas and trace out the blade grasses, and then just not use alpha, because alpha is so expensive. And I say this because there's a lot of overlapping grass. If you look diagonally, it just turns pure white into polygons, and that's never going to run in Game Engine. It's just going to be far too small. So if you think back to a couple classes ago where we used the cards, about 5, 6 for our outdoor environment, we use the cards and intersecting each other. That's going to save you a lot of space. And so instead of 1 grass per draw call, it's going to be 6 blades of grass per draw call, and it's going to help you immensely there. It looks great, don't get me wrong, but there are some optimization issues that just wouldn't pass in normal situations. The cloth is a little heavy, but it is accurate. I like that. I'll let stuff like that slide. You could do normally we would take that into a baking software, repoly it, and then put it back out there. All right. Thanks for making the adjustments to the embankment. I would suggest a little bit more variation. You have some right there. You can see right in there where it kind of wobbles a little bit. I would add more of that because it is dirt. But other than that, I think it's great execution. The plants everywhere, the spacing of them is great. Where they're at is great. Just the initial model could use a little bit of tweaking. Thank you for making the adjustments up front. It's starting to look really fantastic. My only issue is that it's starting to look a little bit like a wicker basket. And I don't think that's, it works up here, but it just looks a little too wickery. It's fine. It's just more of a observation than anything. Anyway, thank you for the hard work, and talk to you soon, guys.